Hey, skateboard company founders, skateboard company purchasing managers. I'm Nick from 2Hex, and today I'm going to talk about 2Hex wheels production. So I brought two samples to discuss with you. So these are 54 times 34 millimeter, 54 times 34 in width. And yeah, it's kind of weird, right? You're probably from the US, and you might be wondering, why do we measure wheels in millimeter? I don't know. It's just been like that. Skateboard decks are measured in inches, trucks in millimeter or inches, wheels in millimeter. Whoever knows the answer to this question, write it in the comments. Then we've got the hardness. These are 85B, and they have the SX shape, which I think is super beautiful. Okay, back to the hardness. 85B. So wheels used to be measured in the A scale, 0 to 100A. But wheels got harder than 100, and so the A scale couldn't measure them anymore. So we're now using the B scale. So an 85B wheel is kind of like a 103A, but well, we can't measure it with with the A scale. Then, so let's like internally we call these SHR 85BN. So SHR stands for super high rebound, because we kind of categorize skateboard wheels in high rebound or super high rebound. The super high rebound material is more expensive in the production and more expensive to buy. But then again, that's just internally, because there's no clear definition for SHR or HR. Then 85B is the measurement. That's a very clear definition where every skateboard company has to go through the same testing process. And then after the B, we've got here like the 85BN or the 85BA. So the final letter just means our mixture. So you can use different material mixtures to reach 85B. And just for us to remember how we mix the material, we add this letter in the end. So here the A in the end, or here the N for Nick, because it's my favorite mixture. Then these wheels, you can see, have a slightly yellowish tint, right? Like light brown, yellowish, orangish kind of. This is on purpose. So first, like a long time ago, skateboard wheels used to be colored. Then suddenly everybody liked these snow white wheels. And now more and more in popularity are these yellowish wheels. And so some people go in the skate shop and think, oh, these are yellowish, they must be the better material. No, it's not about the material. It's just about the dye inside the wheel. So if you take raw urethane, then it's actually slightly transparent and inconsistent and incoherent. So if you would just use the raw material to make the wheels, then you'd have these slightly transparent, kind of dirtyish looking wheels. That's why dye is always mixed in. So like maybe 10 years ago, almost all the wheels were snow white, and that was what pro skaters would skate, because we'd mix in the white chemical to make them snow white. But then skateboard companies had this issue of the white fading, because this white chemical, when going into the sunshine, would fade into kind of a brownish yellowish color. And then if you'd have these wheels lying like this next to your window, you have this side which is kind of brown and this side which is snow white. And so when wheels were in skate shops, they would just look old super quick. And that was a big issue in the market. So, and also skateboarders, they didn't like that they buy these beautiful snow white wheels, skate them for a while, and then they had this kind of yellowish, brownish look, looking super old. And to prevent their stock from going bad, and to prevent skate shops and skaters from having this issue, wheel companies started mixing in, like taking out this white chemical and using a dye that is kind of yellowish. So this yellowish dye fades slower in sunshine, so the original color is kept much longer. And also, if it does fade a bit in the sunshine, then it's already yellowish, so it can't, so it's not that obvious. So that's why this kind of color is super popular in the market right now. And so a lot of skaters tell me like, hey, I just want a natural yellow. So there is no natural yellow. That's why skateboard companies clearly define what color they want. They send us the color code from the Pantone color guide formula. And then that's what we use for the production. So if you're thinking about running a skateboard wheels production for your company, go to 2hex.com, then go to the shop, to wheels, and then you can see like 7 or 8 different shapes. We have almost all shapes, but we just couldn't list them all because we also constantly adapt our shapes. And then go to contact, just tell us what shape you want. even if we don't have it listed. And usually it starts at 300 sets. And yeah, then we add your print. Like we can make a cardboard for you to wrap around. We can insert a sticker. It's all based on how you want your production to run, because we make everything from the raw material up. So I hope to meet you soon, and go hard on your business.